everyone, it's that time of the week again where I've gone and seen a film and now I'm going to talk about it. This week is the Equalizer 3, so if you haven't gone and seen it yet, here is your spoiler warning. I will also be touching on events from the first two Equalizer films as well, very briefly. So if you've not seen those films either and you don't want to be spoiled for them, also warning there. So the Equalizer 3 picks up basically where the second Equalizer left off, with Robert McCall still doing his unique brand of vigilante justice. And we then follow him in true Equalizer style as he discovers and then completely dismantles an entire criminal operation. The Equalizer films are pretty much just your standard action flicks, in my opinion. They might be towards the higher end, honestly, and 3 is no different in this regard. The action's dynamic and fun, the visuals are good, and the story is simple and easy to follow. All of that lands the film pretty comfortably in like the decent range for me, which means that there is a couple of things that I want to talk about, but overall I did enjoy this movie. First, I just want to say that I absolutely loved the mafia theme of this film. There might be a little bit of personal bias. There's just something so intriguing and interesting about that type of villainous force that's just kind of controlling everything from the shadows, but they're also so intimidating once they're front and center. And it's just done really well in this film, I think. And overall, it was really fun to watch an Equalizer film with a mafia twist, pretty much. Something that I did want from this film, seeing it's the third installment, was something a bit more fulfilling in terms of a character arc for our main character. But then again, it's an action film, so hopes high when maybe they shouldn't be. But anyway. I do feel like this film had almost the perfect setup for a redemption-esque storyline with the other two films. Like, for example, in the first one, Robert McCall had turned away from his military life and started living a quiet life. Then the events of the film cause him to jump back into the life of violence, and then after that he kind of becomes a vigilante hero for the people. The second film picks up with that and it shows us where he's gone from there. He's still a pretty nice person, but he's gotten a bit colder since the first film, even killing his old friends because they killed one of his other friends. Which, yeah, they're the bad guys of the film and it's a pretty clear cut, you don't really feel for them. But I feel like at some point you would have a moral compass, especially when they are some of your oldest friends. But it was very much a quick turnaround in 2 of, I'm going to kill you. We cannot talk about this, I am going to murder you. But in Equalizer 2, that served to kind of show how cold and desensitized Robert McCall was becoming after spending so long killing again, living in his life of violence again. And it sets up a really want for you to see him become a softer person in the next film, which is where we land in 3. At the start of 3, he's still doing his vigilante thing, but I feel he's gotten even colder. And in fact, throughout most of the film, you can almost see him as the villain in the way that he conducts himself and the way that he absolutely dismantles some people. And in fact, if you were to watch this film from the perspective of, say, the mafia, he would really seem like a terrifying villain. But this is our protagonist would be a perfect time for him to reflect on what this life has turned him into, and possibly consider, again, settling down and turning away from the life of violence, or at least contracted violence. Like, it could still possibly be a case of, if it happens in front of him, he would stop it, because he can, but he wouldn't go out and look for issues like he currently does. Because currently at the moment, he more fits the bill of a mercenary that only does it for the good of the people, as opposed to a reactive hero, if you get what I mean. I also think this is the direction that the film was trying to go, but it just didn't do it very effectively. It tried to push him down that path of settling down by having him stay in a small Italian town, have him be accepted by the community, and have people that he cares about there. And he says that I've found my home, effectively. But even though he ends up in the same place that I'm talking about physically, he doesn't really have any of the emotional journey that would make that payoff worth it. Like, he doesn't have any self-reflection of, this is what I've done, oh, there's a moment that I went too far and I recognize that, which you could have used for a number of moments in this film, but they just didn't. So there's not the emotional payoff that would make that story arc fulfilling. And at the end of the day, the character just becomes played as another stone cold badass that we've seen for the last 2 movies. But because of that, as this film stands, it wouldn't be out of character for Robin McCall to take up his globe-trotting vigilante ways again and just abandon this town. Because you don't feel that connection as strongly as I think the filmmakers wanted you to, or at least I didn't. Which works if you want to have like another sequel after this, but I don't think Denzel really wants to do that. I've seen a lot of things saying that Equalizer 3 is the send-off to this character. Again, so while that would work for a sequel, it's not really any meaningful progression or even resting state. The character still feels like it's in motion and it hasn't reached a resolution. Which again, action film, I know, don't expect too much from character, but I can still dream. But overall, I did enjoy this film. It was a really fun film to watch. I just feel like story-wise it could have been a little better. Denzel Washington plays his role really well. He's played it for the last 2 films. He knows this character and he knows how to play it well. There's no faults from me there. And I never found myself bored at any point during the film, and there were actually some pretty gorgeous shots throughout, but I do think they missed out on the chance to call it Equalizer. But that's all I've got to say about this film. If you've got any opinions about the film, make sure you leave them in the comments down below, and if you haven't seen the film, go off and see it, let me know what you think. Also, you can help us out by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. You can also subscribe to our Patreon by going to the link in the description below, where you get access to a bunch of extra content, including these reviews a few days early. And executive producer level patrons get their names put right here at the end of our videos and in our credits. Also, there won't be any reviews for the next 2 weeks because of our trip to the New Jersey Web Festival. But once we are finished up over there, we will be back with reviews here. Thank you again for watching this video, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Bye.